falling asleep on my mic? Maybe.
I'm actually very tired. I need to finish up my book stuff, and I don't feel like it.
I kind of am tired too. We need to finish recording, and then I just kind of want to make some quick meals, and then I don't know, read, get ready for bed because I work 2 days in a row.
I actually don't think I'm going to finish my book thing tonight. I think I'll do it tomorrow, maybe after work, maybe. I don't know, just not today.
By book thing, do you mean your reorg?
My reorg.
Yeah,
my last in the 3 bookcases. I'm just really tired.
Yeah, Naomi's in the midst of a giant reorg.
Giant. Last night was a lot. That was a lot. So who knows? Maybe I'll continue over the next weekend. I don't know. Anyway. Welcome back to TBR Lowdown. Welcome back.
One day we will make little ditties.
Oh man. What?
Hot Brother could help us make a ditty.
Oh my God, it would take Hot Brother forever with his perfectionist self. I would have to be in the studio with him. Can you do it now? What about now?
I mean, I'm coming down in April.
Just saying.
I'm just saying. So I don't know if you want me to meet Hot Brother. He can assemble bookshelves.
Well, have we told the people what we're doing in April with our special Bridgeton experience?
We haven't. Have you gotten an outfit?
No. I was hoping I could lose some pounds first, but maybe that's not happening. Maybe it's not happening. So we got tickets, and this was towards the end of 2021?
Months ago.
It was October or something. We bought tickets, VIP tickets, to the Bridgeton Experience.
We're going to the Queen's Ball.
It's going to be so fun. I cannot
wait. I told work, I was like, because I think somebody is on vacation every week of April, and I was like, I don't need a week, but I am not working Thursday through Sunday. Don't call me. Don't look at me. Don't come near me. Don't even think about me. I got plans.
I'm just so excited. I can't wait to see what it all looks like. I'm pumped up. So folks, just be prepared for lots of video and photo dumps from us because we're going to
have fun. We're getting dressed. We're getting dressed.
We are getting dressed.
But I think we're getting dressed more like Billy Porter does Queen's Ball than
there you go.
Jane Austen does it.
There you go. Yeah. There you go. Yeah. So
think that way.
Now it's basically March. I need to start tracking down an outfit now, figuring that part out so that I'm prepared, darling, for the Queen's Ball.
I got my bottom. I think my top is here. Or it's coming in a couple weeks. I think as long as it works, because my original plan didn't work. So hopefully this works. Okay. And then I'll have to, if that works, then it's just shoes.
Right. Shoes.
Did you hear that? That's Mercy. She's crying.
Oh, do you want to record, Mercy? You want to share a doggy book?
I would bring her up here, but she would eat all the things.
Oh no, she can't come.
Mm-mm.
She can't come. Mm-mm. All right.
Because it's over here is pinned at the side of the book nook nobody sees is all the stuff from painting and things that aren't put away yet because I've still got some stuff to do. All the books that I'm getting listed on Pango books or whatever the hell. Pango books / going down to Naomi if they don't sell on Pango books. Mm-hmm. So there's lots of and then boxes and stuff so that I can package up books to send to people when they do buy them. So yeah, it's she would have a field day. Everything would be a toy.
Yeah, she's gonna have to stay downstairs.
She does for now. Yes, while she goes through her terrible twos, she needs to stay downstairs.
We love Mercy already. Anyway, so what are we reading, or what have we just read?
I'm going. Oh, you go first. I went first Celeste.
I'm hoping to finish this tonight. So I am currently not even halfway through, but I'm on page 77 of Drive Your Plow Over the Bones of the Dead. I'm hoping I can finish this tonight and then read a little bit of Giovanni's Room. So I like this. It's very strange to me.
But it's strange in the best way.
It is. How do you say this lady's name? Janina?
Oh, I don't know.
Whatever. The main character. I just I kind of like her. She's an oddball. I
I
got to
like
that
her,
part where she
and I
has
agree
this.
with all of her motivations and decisions.
Right, I got to this part where she's talking about her special kitchen table project, which I thought was so funny. She's odd. I like her. I can't wait to see where else the story takes me, but I'm enjoying it. So,
She is a trip. She reminds me a lot of the lady from The Door by Magda
mm-hmm,
Szabo in
mm-hmm.
terms of sort of these very dry, darkly comedic takes on the world.
Yes.
And um I felt like I read Drive Your Plow and then I read an elderly woman is up to no good. Like on the tail end of
Right.
it. And it was like the perfect pairing. And I feel like you need to read that.
I
That
should
is
see
not
if
the
my
book.
library has that in audio form. I should check
Yeah, they
that
had
out.
it. For some reason, they had it. And I was like, well, I'm getting it. And it's really short and it's a bunch of different stories and it's really good. Like, that wasn't the book I was going to tell you about, but I'm telling you about that. So, bonus. And
I love it.
that's your bonus book. But I am currently reading Gathering Moss by
Oh.
Robin Wall Kimmer because
Mm-hmm.
the world's going to shit. And
Well,
if this is anything like reading Sweetgrass, this will make me find joy in like the actual world we live in again. Um, Maybe not with humanity, but with nature.
right.
And it's just like a collection of essays about mosses and the way that she writes about um, the world around us and about biology and plant life and um, Native American culture and everything. It's very uh, it's scientific and poetic at the same
Mm.
time, and I kind of feel like I wish this is how they taught like the natural sciences,
Yeah.
because we have a very like, and she talks about all the time, there's this very regimented science thing that's like everything has to be like proven and in experiments and da da da, and
Yep.
it's very
There's a process.
systematic. There's a
Mm-hmm.
process, and I get that, but there's also like a natural beauty, and I think it would give a lot of scientists a better connection to the world.
Oh, it's
Um,
an interesting concept, though, right?
yeah, so I just find her writing. So these are the only two that I think she has, and I just find her writing really really wonderful, and I like the audiobooks because I just like hearing her inflection on parts because she
Yeah.
narrates them. And I love that's my favorite thing is when the author narrates the book. And it does what I wish was done in Braiding Sweetgrass is that there's actually little
Oh, yeah. You
illustrations
talked about
throughout.
that. You
And
did
I
say that when you were
really,
reading that book. You're like, I wish there were
yeah, you kind
illustrations.
of want illustrations. So, but this was first, I think, and then she did, um, then she had Braiding Sweetgrass. So
Okay.
it's yeah. So that's that's my coping mechanism during these difficult times.
And just so you know, I just borrowed An Elderly Lady is Up to No Good
Oh,
from
you're
one of
gonna
my
love this.
library
You're gonna love this.
systems. So,
When you get to the story, I can't remember if it's the first or the second story about the lady artist.
mm, okay. I'm going to love it.
You're gonna love it. You're gonna love the ending. You're gonna die laughing. I was driving and like I almost had to pull over. I was laughing so hard. It was fantastic. It's so darkly funny and I love it.
I love that. I love that. And I'd heard about that book. I think maybe Russell's talked about that book before.
Somebody talked about it because that's how
Yeah.
I found it. And then I was
Yeah.
like, I was gonna buy it and then I didn't, and then I saw it on my Libby, so I just listened to it and I was like, ah, I'm gonna have to get it. Part of me wants to see if my mom will like it. She might not find it as funny as I do.
Maybe too darkly comedic for her.
Yeah,
Maybe.
Jesus might like it though.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Hmm.
What are
Well,
we doing? What are we doing
I
today?
guess March is a special month
It is a special month.
because it's what is it? Small Press Month.
Yeah, it's Small Press Month, and we do love a good small press.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
So, according to the Independent Publisher, which is, I guess, an organization, this is an annual celebration of the independent spirit of small publishers and a showcase of the diverse, unique voices being published by them today. So, this is the 10th no, March 2006, I guess, was the 10th year. This has been going on for quite a
I
while.
know, and I
Yeah.
just found out about it like a couple months ago.
Yeah.
I not heard of it before, but this is wonderful.
It's amazing. And what I was really interesting, so I just Googled, National Small Press Month or whatever. And this is what came up. And on this little article, I just love that on the corner, like on the side page, there's 31 things to do for Small Press Month for small publishers. So you get one little thing to do every month. And oh, it's not loading.
Yeah,
But I just
I was
thought
gonna
it,
say for me, I couldn't open that page up, but
yeah.
still,
Well, maybe
maybe
it,
we'll let them
maybe.
know. Maybe I'll tweet and let
Yeah,
them know.
but I just thought it was such a like a lovely little thing if that actually works. But yeah, so we thought we'd do an episode talking about small presses because we do love small presses. I particularly love um indie authors and indie presses. I find it wonderful and to find a voice that's not getting all the attention
Yeah,
that's really good and you get to have a connection to your author and you really know you're supporting somebody and I don't know, there's a passion to these authors that not that the other ones don't have it, but it's you have a different connection to it, to
yeah,
their passion.
yeah. And for me, I've just discovered so many small presses over the last year, and it's kind of exciting
Mhm.
to look outside of your, what is it, the big five
Yeah,
publishers, to see, what other smaller presses are really, kind of committed to publishing and getting out there in the world. So it's been an interesting journey.
yeah. I mean, there's so many wonderful stories that are just waiting to be told, and it's hard to get the big five to pick you up.
That's for sure. That's for sure. So, so who are you going to kick it off?
I can kick it off
Yeah.
if you would like me to kick it off.
Yeah.
So I was going to kick off with Angry Robot Books, who is the publisher that published The Cabinet, which was our January pick for the year. And I had never heard of them before that pick. And we were
Same.
actually going to be picking another book from them. But so we've gone through and we've looked at a few of their mission statements and yada yada. And give you guys a little background on what each of these presses are focusing on. So Angry Robot is more focused on science fiction and fantasy, and they give a platform to new voices and new stories. And it says to quote, push the boundaries of genre fiction, mess them about, and put them back together again in all kinds of awesome ways. We like to think of ourselves as genre fluid, and I
Love that.
love that so much. They've have a bunch of award winning. Um, Titles in their catalog. They're based in the UK, and I just did like a quick like swipe through their catalog this
Mhm.
morning, and in addition to the cabinet, there were two things. There's our pick that's coming up at some point. I can't remember what month we're doing it in, but stay tuned. The
Uh-huh.
Maleficent 7 by Cameron Johnston, which
Oh,
we
that's him.
found. Yeah, which we found through that guy that you sent me. What was his name? The guy
Slowly
does the
Red.
yes, I love
Slowly
him.
Red. Follow him on
I
YouTube, guys.
love him. His Grimmy Awards.
I think it's so great, right?
There's a creative cussing award. It's fantastic.
He's great. He's
Follow
fantastic.
him.
Yeah.
If you like fantasy, particularly grimdark, follow him.
Yeah.
I have so many books coming because of him. Anyway,
He's a
but the
cool dude.
Maleficent 7 by Cameron Johnson, it gives me like Kings of the Wild, but like dark vibes. I guess it's a Seven Samurais retelling. It says Black Heron was a dread demonologist and the most ruthless general in all of Esseran. She assembled the six most fearsome warriors to captain her armies: a necromancer, a vampire lord, a demigod, an war, war leader, a pirate queen, and a twisted alchemist. Together they brought the whole continent to its knees until the day she abandoned her army on the eve of total victory. 40 years later, she must bring her former captains back together for one final stand in the small town of Tarnbrook, the last bastion against a fanatical new enemy tearing through the land, intent on finishing the job Black Heron started years before. Seven bloodthirsty monsters, one town, their last hope. Like, how's it not sound good?
I
Like that
cannot
just,
wait.
we're really excited,
Yeah,
and I'm here for all of it. Like, it definitely has like Kings of the Wild, but like dark and dirty.
for
Like,
sure.
I'm here for it. I
For
hope somebody
sure.
like rips somebody's throat out. Anyway,
All that good
um,
stuff.
the stuff that I think. And then there was this other one that I think you will will be interested in because it's a space opera and it sounds a little bit like The Expanse, and there's 3 of them. I mean, there's not 10, but it's Paratwa Saga by Christopher Hines, and it's 200 years after a nuclear apocalypse forced humanity to flee Earth. Humans still remember the most feared warriors of that planet, the Paratwa. Um, these are genetically modified killers who occupy 2 bodies controlled by one vicious mind. The legendary Paratwa named Remol, known as the Liege Killer, was the strongest of them all. Now someone has revived Remol for status and sent him to terrorize the peaceful orbital colonies of Earth. Is this an isolated incident, or has the one who unleashed this terrible power announced a gambit for control over the entire human race? I see you nodding, and I
Yes,
was like,
please.
oh, Naomi is going to be
Yes,
here for
please.
this. So, yeah,
Yes,
those are
please.
I just picked like 3 books for each of my 3 small presses just to have something to talk about. Do I need to talk about the cabinet? I don't think so. We have a whole live discussion about the cabinet. Go read it. It's quirky and weird and sci-fi. And now that I see their mission statement of being genre fluid, I
Well,
like does the
now it all
cabinet
makes sense.
the cabinet is genre fluid.
Yeah.
So, yeah, definitely psyched about Angry Robot, and yeah.
Well, I'm still stuck on because we were looking at the Maleficent 7, like just a couple weeks ago, talking about
Mhm.
it. Like, oh, this
Mhm.
would be a great pick for TBR Lowdown, but I did not look at who published it.
Yeah, I looked at it, I was like, "Oh,
That
wait
went
a second.
right
I
over my
know that."
head.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
But we need to get this Paratois saga.
Oh, yes, we do. Oh, yes, we do.
Because, like, remember you were like, I don't know what I'm going to do when the expanse is over.
I'm doing that. I'm doing that. That sounds good.
Yes.
Ooh, that's exciting.
I knew you'd like that one. There are a few
Okay.
other things in there, but I was like, let's give Naomi what she's going to like.
Oh, that's exciting. That's exciting. Man,
Mm-hmm.
go you small presses. Go, go. All right. So I am going to start with Tilted Access. They were founded in
Love it.
2015, and they're a nonprofit press publishing mainly work by Asian writers translated into a variety of Englishes. And I've also, following Alyssa's model here, I've chosen 3 books as well. One of the books is called Panty by Sanjiti.
Panty?
Panty.
Like, I'm not wearing no panties?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
By Sanjiti Bandi. I'm not sure how to say that last name. Um, and it's translated by Arunava Sinha. I'm not sure. I need to get better at this. So it says
We're
a woman
so bad.
a woman arrives alone in Calcutta, taking refuge in a deserted apartment while she waits to undergo an unspecified surgery. In this disorienting city, everything seems new and strange. The pavement dwellers outside her block, the collective displays of religiosity, the power cuts, and alarming acts of arson. Her sense of identity already shaken when she finds a stained pair of leopard print panties in the otherwise empty wardrobe. She begins to fantasize about their former owner, whose imagined life comes to blur with and overlap her own. I must read that. I must read that.
I don't think I've ever maybe I have because there was this pair of boxers that showed up in the parking lot outside of work one day, and they were there for a while, and we all had a lot of theories on what happened to make that person lose their undergarments.
Right? So
Yeah,
I don't know, that sounds really interesting.
it does.
So I'm definitely going to be what I was thinking was
Panty.
I know I would actually like to read their stuff in publication order. I would love to be able to do that.
uh,
Yeah. So the next book I chose from Tilted Access is The Devil's Dance by Hamid Ismailov. And
sure,
these are both translated works.
sure, Naomi.
These are all translated. Oh, here's what I wish they did on the website. Tilted Access, please. It says who the translator is, but it doesn't tell me the language in which it's translated from.
Oh,
And that would
interesting.
be really helpful, Tilted Access, if you could just put on there translated from the French or the whatever, just so that we know. Because I have no idea, and I can't guess by looking at names.
No.
So the Devil's Dancer says, on New Year's Eve, 1938, the writer Abdullah Qadiri
Q.
Is taken from his home by the Soviet secret police and thrown into a Tashkent prison. There, to distract himself from the physical and psychological torment of beatings and mindless interrogations, he attempts to normalize he attempts to mentally reconstruct the novel he was writing at the time of his arrest, based on the tragic life of the Uzbek poet queen Ois Oxen. I don't know how to say that.
Oisin? I don't know.
Oisin, married to 3 Khans in succession and living as Abdullah now does with the threat of execution hanging over her. As he gets to know his cellmates, Abdullah discovers that the great game of Oisin's time, when English and Russian spies infiltrated the courts of Central Asia, has echoes in the 1930s present. But as his identification with his protagonist increases and past and present overlap, it seems that Abdullah's inability to tell fact from fiction will be his undoing. I'm just
Interesting.
completely intrigued by that.
That
Completely
is very,
intrigued.
very interesting. And you know what? When you were talking to about this guy rewriting the novel, I had instant Master Margarita thought.
Instantly.
Instant.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And the third book, which I believe you said you just ordered, Tomb
I
of Sand.
did.
And I cannot pronounce that name either. I'm so sorry. But this will all be in the show notes on the website,
Gitanjali
tbrlowdown.com.
Sherry.
Ooh, that sounds like you might be right. So Tomb of Sand, it says, in northern India, an 80-year-old woman slips into a deep depression at the death of her husband, then resurfaces to gain a new lease on life. Her determination to fly in the face of convention, including striking up a friendship with a Hijra person, is that right? Confuses her bohemian daughter, who is used to thinking of herself as the more modern of the two. To her family's consternation, Ma insists on traveling to Pakistan, simultaneously confronting the unresolved trauma of her teenage experiences of partition and reevaluating what it means to be a mother, a daughter, a woman, a feminist.
So I found this book through the same super posh British lady who I found the cabinet from. The lady at the library, I think, is her
Ah,
YouTube.
yes.
And I sent it to you. I know I sent it to you. But we send a lot of things to each other, so that
I
doesn't mean
know.
anything. Um, but I kept looking at it and kept looking at it and kept looking at it, and then I don't know what. Oh, somebody had Strange Beasts of China, which is also out from Tilted Access,
Uh
and
huh.
then I was like, oh wait, do you know what else is from Tilted Access? So I just bought it.
There you
I
go.
love their covers too. I just love
Aren't they
their
great?
commitment to the Tilted Access. Like they're very simple. I have a thing for simple covers at this point. I like cheesy fantasy covers
Yeah.
and simple literary fiction covers.
Yeah.
I don't know why my brain is divided between literary fiction and like orcs, but it is.
You know who else has a really simplistic style of covers is Charcoal Press.
Hmm.
Really
Which you
simplistic.
don't have on your list, do you?
Well, I had to. We said 3,
I know.
so our honorable mentions are going to be what? Charcoal Press and
Grey
Pushkin
Wolf
Press.
and Grey Wolf.
Yeah. So we'll make sure we add all those in the show notes as well. But we were trying to keep the show kind of concise, so
Twite.
we chose 3 indie presses each.
Yeah. So, I am gonna pick something that's probably a little bit more, I don't know, academic, but Tuttle Books, and they focus a lot on particularly Asian authors and writings. And it's a little bit more geared towards culture, nonfiction, language learning, things like that. But so the core of Tuttle Publishing is built upon one objective: pioneering into the future while building upon our past. Our fundamental values are as strong today as they were in 1948. Discover, create, publish, and deliver best in class books and products that bring the world closer together, one page turn at a time. And it really does focus a lot on Asian authors, and me being me, I'm particularly interested in their Japanese titles. So I do have one of them already, and it is Strange Tales from Japan, which is a 99 spell-tingling tales of ghosts, yokai, demons, shapeshifters, and trickster animals who inhabit remote reaches of Japanese countrysides. They are beautiful books with beautiful wood block prints throughout and black and white illustrations of the creatures, and there's like a really lovely introduction. I'm slowly sort of making my way through it, and it gives you this and this other book that I have on my list here, Haunted Japan, which I almost bought at the same time, but I had to kind of pick one. So I picked The Strange Tales. But Japan is focused mostly on the ghostly creatures and the supernatural of Japanese like culture. And it talks a lot about um, so it says this results in an unparalleled insight into the dark corners of the Japanese psyche, a world filled with horrifying creatures, including oni demons with fierce and ghastly appearances, yuri Japanese ghosts who inhabit the world of the living, and yoki supernatural monsters. And it includes several traditional legends, and I believe this one also has like art prints and things in it. So it's not just stories. There's also this getting to understand the culture a little bit more, and as we read more stories, especially as I become more and more obsessed with Japanese culture and Japanese literature, it gives you like more depth to your understanding, and it's just I'm really into it. And they also do some language learning books as well. I have their beginning Japanese and workbook and textbook as well that I got through them. So, and I think they have other like Asian languages as well if you'd like to learn them. So, I just think they're a really cool little press that you don't really see a lot of, probably because they lean more towards the academic. But yeah, if you want to, there's some piece of Asian culture you want to learn more about, check out what Tuttle has. Yeah, yeah.
I love their name.
Tuttle. It's a good name. It really is.
It's a good name.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm a fan. And it explains why Junji Ito is the way he, like, why is that such like a, oh yeah, because there's this rich culture of like sort of ghoulish folklore.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
So,
okay. Am I up?
You're up, my love.
Okay. Well, let's talk about Europa editions because we know that I'm in love with them.
She is in love with Europa.
I am.
I'm in love with Europa.
I am. Founded in 2005. And I learned something about them too. I didn't know this. So they're founded in 2005 by Sandro Ferri and Sandra Ozola Ferri, who were also the owners and publishers of the Italian press Edizioni E/O. And so the idea behind the creation of Europa Editions was to capitalize on Edizioni EO's deep roots in European publishing to bring fresh international voices to the American and British markets and to provide quality editions that have a distinct look and consistently high levels of editorial standards. Learn something new every day. So I
bring
just
some
learned
culture
about,
to us heathens.
right. So what was it, a year ago that I learned about Europa?
Yeah.
I think it was a year ago. I actually, so they have, under Europa, they have something called World Noir. And I think the first book I ordered from Europa was under their World Noir section. I ordered this like political crime novel that's translated from the Italian called Sabura, and that was my first like dipping my toe into ordering things from them. But also, they publish all the
Elena
Ferrante. You
Ferrante.
know how I feel about her. But there are 3 other books that I want to read
Oh
that they
God, this
published.
one.
Yes. So one is called Cathedral by Ben Hopkins. And so let me read the synopsis and I'll tell you why I want to read it. So it says, at the center of this story is the cathedral. Its design and construction in the 12th and 13th centuries in the town of Hagenberg unites a vast array of unforgettable characters whose fortunes are inseparable from the shifting political factions and economic interests vying for supremacy. Around this narrative center, Ben Hopkins has constructed his own monumental edifice, a novel that is rich with vicissitudes of mercantilism, politics, religion, and human enterprise. Now, if you recall me talking about my buddy read with Jess when we read The Pillars of the Earth last year, and how much we love that book. This sounds like The Pillars of the Earth.
Saucy monks.
Those saucy monks, those shady monks. But this sounds like The Pillars of the Earth. And so it's the curiosity in me that's wanting to know how similar this book is to The Pillars of the Earth that is driving me to want to read Cathedral.
Yeah. Because that was my thought too when I saw it, was that it's giving me those vibes. And though I did stop reading Pillars of the Earth years ago. It was a long time ago. I was a younger person. I was a foolish young lady, and yeah. But I don't know. It sounded very intriguing, and also I kind
Yeah,
of thought that like maybe Jesus would like it too, and I like when we both can read a book together.
exactly. So
Yeah.
definitely this year I will be picking up Cathedral because I've got to know, and I kind of want to read it before Jess and I dig back into the next book from Pillars of the Earth. So
Yeah.
anyway, the second book that I like to read from them is called Trust by Domenico Starnon.
Mm-hmm.
And it says Pietro and Teresa's love affair is tempestuous and passionate. After yet another terrible argument, she gets an idea. They should tell each other something they've never told another person, something they're too ashamed to tell anyone. They will hear the other's confessions without judgment and with love in their hearts.
Never a
In
good
this
idea.
way, right. In this way, Teresa thinks they will remain united forever, more intimately connected than ever. A few days after sharing their shameful secrets, they break up. Not long
No shit.
after, Pietro meets Nadia, falls in love, and proposes. But the shadow of the secret he confessed to Teresa haunts him, and Teresa herself periodically reappears standing at the crossroads, it seems, or every major moment in his life. Or is it he who seeks her out?
Oh, that sounds good. Also, stupid young people. No, no. Sometimes a
Keep
secret's a good
your
thing.
secrets to yourself.
If the secret if, isn't hurting nobody, shut your mouth.
Shut your mouth.
Shut your mouth.
Shut it. So
Yeah.
I really want to read that.
Mm.
That's on my list for. He wrote another book that I was gonna buy last year. I actually put it in my cart twice, and I waited so long someone else bought it. It was called Trick. It's called Trick. Something about mischievous grandchildren up to no good, tricking their
You
grandfather or
don't have
something.
one of those. You have a lovely grandchild.
I do, I do.
We
And
love
my
him.
third one is called Brotherhood by Muhammad Sar. I think. It says, under the regime of the so called Brotherhood, two young people are publicly executed for having loved each other. In response, their mothers begin a secret correspondence, their only outlet for the grief they share, and each woman's personal reckoning with the leadership that would take her beloved child's life. At the same time, spurred on by their indignation at what seems to be an escalation of the Brotherhood's brutality, a band of intellectuals and freethinkers seek to awaken the conscience of the cow populace and foment rebellion by publishing an underground newspaper. While they grapple with the implications of what they have done, the regime's brutal leader begins a personal crusade to find the responsible parties and bring them to his own sense of justice. Must
Ooh.
read it. Must read it.
Ooh.
That's some good stuff.
That's some
Good
good
stuff.
stuff. Europa does have some good things. I
They
like
really do.
Europa.
They
I
really
can't
do.
say that I always like their covers. And I think it's just the Elena Ferrante covers. I don't like them. We're gonna
Oh,
go back to
I
the
don't know.
Laura Ashley thing. They just feel like a
I think
Laura
that's why I like
Ashley
them.
advertisement. You can have all the Laura Ashley. I'm gonna find some vintage Laura Ashley and send it to you
It's
along
a
with
level
cowboy
of
porn.
cheese that I enjoy. You know what I mean? It's like a level of cover cheese that I like. I don't
It's
know.
chintz. I'm sorry. I was abused as a child and made to wear Laura Ashley with like the
Uh-oh.
frilly collars and everything. No, thank you. I can't. I can't.
We digress.
It's fine. I look at the words more than I look at the cover.
Yes. Yes.
um, but I really like that press that does the blue and white covers that I can never remember
Oh,
the name of.
Fritz Carlton edition.
Yeah, that is.
Those are really
I
nice.
I don't know why I love them so much. It's the simplicity, but
They're
there's just something
simplistically
about them.
beautiful.
Okay, laugh at me, but when I'm reading them, I feel smarter.
I'm not going to laugh at you. I understand.
There's just something about them, like walking around
Yeah,
reading this. It
I
just
understand.
feels like you're smarter.
I get it.
And given all the stupid things I do every day, I need moments where I feel smart.
I'm actually wondering if they patented that particular color of blue.
I hope they did, because that would be really smart.
Yeah.
But I think I've picked up the white books are nonfiction and the blue books are fiction.
I don't know. I haven't seen the white ones.
So they have some that are white, and I think they're all nonfiction.
Okay.
So if anybody knows for sure. But I saw them first on Eric Carl Anderson's many videos where because he gets them all the
He
time
gets
because
them
he gets
all the time.
all
Yeah.
the good books.
Well,
And
he lives over there in the special place.
I know he lives where all the good books live.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that got me turned on to it. But one day I will get books of Jacob. I need to sell some more books and then I'll go buy books of Jacob.
Yes. Yes.
Anywho, that was not who we were talking about. So my last one is actually Emergent Realms, who is a small indie press that reached out to us actually early on in the podcast
It
to
was.
talk about one of their books, and I have carried on with that relationship.
Yes, you
Um,
have.
and I guess I think that they're lovely people, and I like what they're doing. And so let me talk about what they're doing. So they are a story lab focused on creating the best fantasy, science fiction, and horror you can find. They want to be more than a small press and aim to be a collective built by storytellers who understand the transformative power of stories. Our goal is to bring you more than just a story. We want to give you an experience you'll never forget. So they are founded by A.H. Serrano, who wrote one of the books on my list here, and Jim Wilburn, who wrote another one. And Jim is fantastic. I don't know AH as well. Jim is just absolutely lovely. And they met through NaNoWriMo, and they kind of teamed
Oh.
up. Yeah, they kind of teamed up to like do this publishing thing together. So they offer like editing services. So like when we talk small, like this is where like publishing meets indie author, I think is the best way for me to describe
Yes.
this, because they are just like a group of people who just want to put out books. Basically,
Right.
this is just for the love of writing. And they focus a lot on fantasy, and they have like I said, they have like editing services, they have books obviously, and they have merchandise, and they're just absolutely lovely people. So the first book is the one by A.H. Serrano, which I'm sorry if I'm saying your name wrong. And that's Violent Blessed, which is the first in a trilogy, I believe. And you have this, I don't know if you've ever read it, but it was an
I
interesting,
never
like,
finished it.
sort of sci-fi thing. It got really good, like, it picked up some steam near the end, and it made me interested for the rest of it, the way the ending went. The beginning, I will say, was, a little bit on the slower side for me, getting the world sort of built and
Yeah.
getting the story set up. But then once it starts to get set up, and once our main character ends up in this different location, the story just like whew, takes
Okay.
off. So it is worth the time, I think. So there has never been an Amarillion born without ability, never until River Henry. River has no place in a world and where worth is measured by the power of one's ability. He is an anomaly. Wow, I can't say anomaly. Wow, an anomaly.
We have the moments. We have those moments.
He is an anomaly. I still can't say it. He's an anomaly and an outcast afflicted by an ailment no one can see or explain. Caught in the unrelenting hold of his government, he falls further into the pit of hopelessness as he wrestles with the mysteries of his past. After a fated meeting with a cryptic stranger, River realizes the only way to uncover his past is return to the Institute, the very place that scarred and violated him. If he goes back, it could mean forfeiting his life. But could everyone be wrong about him? Though he remains untouched by power, there is something inside of him, something alive and entangled with secrets that could upset the balance of everything his generation has ever known to be true. Welcome to a world where the secrets are as big as continents, the monsters hide in plain sight, and there is always something sinister at play. So this is like, there's like lots of secrets. It's like a nice, like, twisty little tale. It's got sci-fi mixed in with fantasy. It's actually, I kind of liked it. I also have on here. Don't have a lot of stuff because they just sort of started, but
Yeah.
I have a collection, an anthology of fantasy short stories, and they all focus around fire. So it says 12 stories, 13 authors, one theme: the magic in fire. And I'll tell you, the first story is so good. It is so weird. There's creepy dolls. Um, and I'm sold once there's creepy dolls because I can just
Yeah,
relate. And it's the
yeah.
girl who grew up in a creepy doll house. And I need to find that video I have of all the dolls lined up in my
Yes, you
grandmother's house.
do.
It's absolutely terrifying. If I find it,
Yes,
I
it
will
is. It's very
I will put it
terrifying.
out. I will put it out on in a short on YouTube for you guys. Anyway, but they're just good. So I've been slowly reading stories. When I need a story here and there, kind of like just dabbling through short stories collections. It takes me a really long time to read a short story collection usually, but they're good. It's interesting, and there's lots of new authors to be exposed to, and
Okay.
I kind of like that. Um, and also the final one, which is Jim's, is the Seventh Cadence, which I really, 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 really,
I
really,
remember
really need
you
you to
really
read.
talking about that. Yeah,
I really need you to read this. So
I
if
will
you
read it.
like epic high fantasy with motherfucking ice dragons,
Yeah.
there is like a lot of political intrigue. There's a lot of characters. It's got that Wheel of Time sense where you have lots of people and they're all gonna kind of like come to play somewhere.
Mhm.
Um, it it is really well done, and I can't wait for the next whenever the next one comes out. And I don't know when that's coming out. So Jim, if you're listening,
Nice.
tell us. An action-packed epic fantasy adventure, perfect for fans of Brandon Sanderson, Brent Weeks, and Robert Jordan. After a supernatural and unforeseen calamity shatters at the tentative alliance of the Five Realms, the Dessarian Dominion has returned to take back their homeland and restore their oppressive regime. As the Dominion readies their troops for invasion, the fate of the entire world rests in the hands of a fugitive scientist, a powerful pacifist, and an unseasoned prince with little to guide them but their own ideals. With the freedom of a kingdom at risk, each must find their place in a world torn asunder. The Seventh Cadence is a sweeping high fantasy epic of war, found family, and reckoning with fate.
Yeah, it sounds good.
You
It
need
sounds
to
really
read
good
it.
actually. Yeah,
It's really good.
yeah.
Yeah. And there's
Plus,
like I
you got
guess
me
there's
an ice
two
dragon
little
for political intrigue. So
there's fucking ice
yeah,
dragons.
I'll be sure to
Sorry.
add that to the list. And that
How to
is.
how to sell Alyssa? There's fucking ice dragons.
Do you know how many books are slated to be in the series, or they haven't made mention of it?
I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, I'm gonna guess there's gonna be 3, but I don't know. There's like 2 short stories you can download for free that are sort of prequels, and I'll have to look around and see what
Okay.
I could just like text Jim. Yeah. No, I love it. Everyone should read it. And you know what? It's got fantastic reviews on Goodreads, and also they did a really good job of pushing it out to some of the more niche creators who
Hmm.
read fantasy. Um, and I've seen some really good reviews out of them as well. So, it I hope for all the best with this series.
I'm here for it.
Hmm.
Okay. Don't let me forget about that series either,
I
because I
won't,
do want to read
because
that.
I will remind you every I talk about it all the time.
You actually do. You do.
I'm
What do
also a
you
rep
ever?
for them, so I don't shut up.
That's
So,
true. That's true.
did
Okay.
you see their chucks? Did you see that they made chucks? They made bookish chucks.
No, I did not see that.
Mercy is.
Oh, oh, she making me sad.
It's all right. I'll go down and see her in a minute.
Okay. So my last one is um. Sorry, my mom just texted me. Of course, when I'm recording. My last press is $2 radio, and I'm really digging them. So
Mm-hmm.
they are a family-run outfit founded in 2005 with a mission to reaffirm. Oh, the
I'm
mission
sorry.
to
I'm distracting you for a second. Do
the
you see
mission to
these?
reaffirm the cultural and artistic spirit of the publishing industry. Oh, I need them. We aim
Okay.
to
Anyway,
do this.
sorry. Sorry,
So
everybody.
it says we aim to do this by presenting bold works of literary merit, each book individually and collectively providing a sonic progression that we believe to be too loud to ignore. So they have a ton of books that I want to read that they've published, but I'm gonna give you these three. One
Aren't
was
they
just
a bookstore too?
they do have a bookstore. They also have a bookstore with a cafe in it, I believe, and they're in
Where are they
Ohio.
located?
Ohio.
It's not that far. We just got to go down Route 80.
Yeah. So One of their books just came out. I think it was either last Tuesday or 2 Tuesdays ago. It's called New Animal, and I've talked about this in our 2022 anticipated reads episode. I did
Mm-hmm.
mention this book, New Animal by Ella Baxter. It says Amelia Aurelia is approaching 30, and her closest relationships, other than her mother, are through her dating apps. She works at the family mortuary business as a cosmetic mortician with her eccentric stepfather and older brother, whose throuple's current preoccupation is with what type of snake to adopt. When Amelia's affectionate mother passes away without warning, she is left without anchor. Fleeing the funeral, she seeks solace with her birth father in Tasmania and stumbles into the local BDSM community where her righteous
Saucy.
where her righteous attempts to belong are met with confusion, shock, and empathy. I think I'm gonna order that one soon. Probably when I order the Maleficent Seven and all that good stuff. Gonna do one big order. But I'm really looking forward to reading that. That sounds really interesting. And then the next one is called A Mouthful of Air by Amy Koppelman. And apparently this has been adapted into, I think, either a series or a movie. What's that actress's name? The one that played in Mean Girls, the Disney one from Mean Girls. Anyway, she plays the lead in this.
Oh, something civic.
Amanda Seyfried.
There you go.
Yeah.
Seyfried.
So it says, we meet Julia several weeks after her suicide attempt, on the eve of her son's first birthday. Grateful to be alive, Julie tries her best to appreciate every moment. This tree, that passing car, the pretzel guy up ahead on the corner. She has, for whatever reason, been given a second chance, but her emotional demons are unrelenting, and she is slowly and quietly losing the battle. I must read.
That sounds good.
It does. And then the third one
Depressing.
is,
I love a good depressing book.
I know. The
What is
third
wrong
one
with
is
us?
called We're Messed Up Triangulum by Masande Nashanga. It says,
Sure.
in 2040, the South African National Space Agency receives a mysterious package containing a memoir and a set of digital recordings from an unnamed woman who claims the world will end in 10 years. Assigned to the case, Dr. Naomi
Law.
Buthelezi, that's not right, a retired professor and science fiction writer, is hired to investigate the veracity of the materials and whether or not the woman's claim to have heard from a force more powerful than humankind is genuine.
Interesting. Also, 2040 isn't that far away, and that's terrifying. I don't like when we're
Pretty
in
much.
that near of a future.
Yeah. Give me like 100 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that sounds good.
Really good. Really good.
Yeah. So we love a good small press. So if there's like any small presses that you like,
Yeah, let us know what they
tell
are.
us.
Let us know.
I think Grey Wolf is the one that does that abundance book.
Yeah, they did.
That I really want to read, and I just love the apparently allegedly it's they do this. There's no apparent or allegedness about it. Every chapter, the title is the amount of money in their bank account.
Yes.
And that is like
Yes.
the subtle tension that
Yeah.
must just add to the story.
Yep.
Because we talked about this a little bit with Charles, that like people don't seem to like to admit that there are people in this country who are that poor.
Right.
Like
Exactly.
that is always something that is somewhere else. But there are people that are legitimately like absolutely starving. It just looks nicer now. Because yeah, you're not like barefoot in a shack in the Ozarks.
Exactly. I mean, we don't. Well, also, like, we don't really know what it looks like half the time. We're not in those.
Yeah.
A lot of us are not even in those areas or have any relation to those areas where we would see it.
Yeah.
We're just completely oblivious to it all.
So, like, when you go into, and I don't know if it's even still there. It was there for a long time. I assume it still is. There is this shanty town in Harlem that's right along the Hudson line as you're coming into Grand Central, and it literally is just like a shanty town, and it's like this thing you never really see here anymore, especially not in the city. I mean, that used to kind of be all over, especially during the Great Depression and other eras, and like I can't think of any other time in this country I've seen that, and I would see that every day going to work when I worked in the city.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, like what our day to day, like what we see day to day, really takes us out of like the larger,
Mhm.
picture of what's going on in the world. Something happened on Bookstagram. Somebody posted something about the Scholastic Book Fair,
Mhm.
and they said something like, um, thinking back to when I was a kid and seeing, a lot of my classmates, with all their stuff from the Scholastic Book Fair and wishing that I had enough to participate.
Mhm.
And that was a real moment of like checking myself and shame for me because I never thought about that.
I never thought about that either. I was the
Ever.
kid that got any book they wanted. Like,
I
why
always
would
got
they
any
not
book
get
I
every?
wanted, but not only that, so that everybody in my class, but I went to
Yeah.
school like I was in it was a nicer neighborhood. Like nobody was struggling to give their kid money for the
Yeah.
Scholastic Book
I mean,
Fair.
I went to private schools, so yeah, no, nobody was struggling, and anybody who was struggling like that was on a scholarship, and I didn't see them until I was older because they weren't really there. Like the prep for prep kids, I don't think they came in until middle school, and even those kids, I don't think they're struggling at the same level as like
Exactly.
as others.
Exactly. But it made me think about that. I was like, why I never thought about that. That was never my experience growing up. And then when I had children, they basically got quote unquote a blank check
Hmm.
to get whatever they wanted from the Scholastic Book Fair. And it just
Yeah.
it never dawned on me, and feel so much shame for even thinking that, but like it's true. Like it never dawned on me.
Well, it's
Oh,
very easy
some
to.
people can't afford the damn Scholastic Book Fair.
Well, I think it's a very natural thing for you to your life is your normalized point of view. So what
Right.
you see on an everyday basis is very normalized, and it can be very jarring when you finally see something that's not part of whatever that normal point of view is.
Right.
Like I used to live in this town um and that was very very white, and not that I don't live in a very white town now, but we all walked around all the time and I could walk to
Right.
the train station, and there was one day I got off the train, and it was shortly after I moved there, maybe like a couple months after I moved there. And I got off the train and there was like a black man who got off with me. And at that moment I was like, I haven't seen a black person in 3 months. And
Uh,
it took me that like I was like, holy shit. Because you
right.
lose when you're constantly whatever it is, when you're
Right.
constantly exposed to it, you kind of get desensitized. Maybe that's not the right word, but you kind of like lose perspective.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm saying that right, but yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, that and like when the book fair thing, and when kids started to do home classes, that was a very interesting thing for people who maybe didn't have what others had. Because like, how are you going to say you're the kid that gets all their meals at school, and both their parents are working all the time,
Right.
and all this stuff? One, do you have the technological capabilities to
Yep.
do online learning? And if you do that, do you, as a kid, do you feel comfortable sharing a slice of your life like that? Or even if you're not a kid who lives in a more impoverished situation, but does every kid want to have their home life exposed to the other kids at school? So there's all these things that like that was definitely not something that you or I had to worry about. Like if we did have issues or things that were home, they were home and school was school, and there was
Right.
this natural divide. But there's
Yeah.
like, yeah,
I don't know. That was
the
in
world.
that moment. I was very grateful for that post for like smacking me back to like
Yeah, sometimes you need to get your
reality.
ass
You know what I
smacked back to
mean?
reality.
Yeah. I was very thankful for that post.
Because it's
So
so easy to forget that everybody's life isn't the life you're living.
exactly. That's exactly right. That's exactly
Because,
right.
yeah. And there's nothing inherently wrong with that. Unless you assume that everybody should live your life.
Right. Boom. There you go. There you go.
But
Anyway, I just wanted
yeah.
to bring that up.
Anyway, so Abundance by Grey Wolf Press is something that's I keenly want to read.
Yes. Yes. All right. Book recommendation time.
Do you have one? Do you want to go first?
I do. I read this a few months ago um with Nappy Headed Jojoba's book club, and it is A Girl is a Body of Water by Jennifer Nansabuga Makumbi. I feel like that's correct. This was a great book. It had a lot of what do you call it? It had a lot of like Ugandan folklore in it,
Ooh, fun.
but
I
also
love a good folklore.
but like it was like messy family stuff, and that's why I really dug it. Right, so the main character, how do you say Kariba, Karaba, Karobo, Kuribo. I was trying to remember how I heard it in the audiobook, and I can't remember. But excuse me. But she has been trying to figure out where's her mother, who is her mother. She has no idea. No one's told her. Everyone's giving her the runaround on who and where her mother is, and she she has a somewhat close relationship with like the village um witch, if you will.
Ooh.
um and so she begins to like spend a lot of time with her, um talking about life and things, and she's giving her little drips and drabs about who and where her mother may possibly be and who her mother may possibly be, but not just outright telling her.
Mm-hmm.
And she also, this is where we get to the folklore part, she also tells Kuribo, I think that's how you say it, Kuribo, that she has a streak of what's called the first woman, an independent original state that has been all but lost to women. Very interesting. So in this story, Kuribo is fighting this first woman piece of her and kind of trying to make peace with the uh, the rule following, respectful, loving, daughter and woman that she's trying to be. It's like these two pieces of her are kind of like fighting each other, and
Yeah.
she's trying to find like a middle ground to bring herself to. So that was really interesting. But the messiness in this book,
You love a good
the
messy
dirt
book.
she finds out about her father and her mother and his mistress, I mean, just all the good stuff. It was all in this book, and I really enjoyed it. So that is A Girl is a Body of Water.
Oh, excuse me. I need more coffee. I never know what to recommend. So I'm going to recommend These Violent Delights by
Yes.
Micah Nemerever, Nemerever. That's entirely too many E's. And my brain cannot say his name. So this is dark academia at its finest. It is fucked up. Like these
Yeah.
fucked up, absolutely fucked up. It's set in the 1970s in Pittsburgh. It's a queer romance that is just absolutely psychotic. And so I'll read you the back. When Paul enters university in early 1970s Pittsburgh, it's with the hope of moving past the recent death of his father. Sensitive, insecure, and incomprehensible to his grieving family, Paul feels isolated and alone. So when he meets the worldly Julian, Paul is immediately drawn to his classmate's effortless charm. Paul sees Julian as his sole intellectual equal, an ally against a suffocating conventional world. Paul will stop at nothing to prove himself worthy of their friendship because with Julian, life is more invigorating than Paul could ever have imagined. But as charismatic as he can choose to be, Julian is also volatile and capriciously cruel, and Paul becomes increasingly afraid that he will never live up to what Julian expects of him. As their friendship spirals into an all-consuming intimacy, they each learn the lengths to which the other will go to stay together, an obsession that hurdles them towards an act of irrevocable violence. So this is like when you were reading this, Naomi, could you tell which one of them was the most screwed up?
No, I
Because
could not. No, I could
because
not.
I couldn't tell if Paul started messed up and Julian made him worse, or
Right.
if Paul was always messed up. Like I was just,
It was such a slippery slope, and it was
and
yeah, I couldn't.
their psychoses just fed off
Get
of
off it.
each other,
Yes.
and
Yes.
it is really hard to read at times, but you also can't stop
Oh yes.
because you need to know what these two insane people are going to do next. Also, Julian's parents are
Oh my
horrific.
god.
That's all I got. Read the book. Read the
When I
book.
read that book, I was like, why is no one talking about this book?
I think they do. They just haven't talked about it in a while.
I really enjoyed it. I didn't check to see if the author had anything else, had written anything else, but
This was the debut.
okay.
But this was the debut a while back, no?
Yeah, yeah.
It's a few years old now. At least this paperback is 2020. Anyway, I mean, if you want to go on like just a psychological spiral down to somewhere not great, read this.
Yeah. Yeah.
I give the best descriptions. But it's really good.
It is.
It's like this weird all-consuming love that just destroys everybody. But is it really love? You can't tell. Like at some points it's like, is it love anymore? Do they just hate each other? It's so
their
messed up.
version of love.
Do you know what it reminds me of a little bit? What was that movie where, oh my God. Oh, this is going to bother me. There's a movie where like there's this like cheating couple and like everybody in the movie's terrible. Oh, never gonna remember it. Never gonna remember it. Never mind. It's like from like the early 2000s. I can't remember. Don't worry. Moving on. I can't remember it.
Well,
but I won't.
Yeah.
I'll remember it like 3 days from now in the shower. So
tell me immediately. Yeah.
I will. I will. But it's the kind of book where you're like, I hate everybody in this book.
Right. Right.
Yeah. None of you are good people.
Yeah. Pick that one up. Pick it up.
Do it. Anyway. So that's all we got, right?
That's all we got. Support small presses.
Small presses. It's March.
Let us
small
know
press month.
if you have any favorite small presses. Let us know so we can check them out. And
yeah, hopefully
as usual,
we've introduced you to some new things.
Yes.
I love when we talk over each other.
Look, and then when I'm editing, one of us will have to go.
That's fine. Kick me out.
All right, that's all we got, folks.
All right.
Thanks for listening.
Bye. We're really trying to perfect the simultaneous bye.
We try.